Good afternoon, evening to all. I am Dana Dubois. Welcome to I Write Out Loud. Oh, and look, here comes my little dog, Kira. She is wilting from the heat here, but she hears me talking like this, and she's like, that's mom's podcast voice. So let me give her nature raw treat. Not an official sponsor. I think many of you know that Substack announced they were rolling out sponsorships. I just last night completed my thing. I have not yet heard of anyone actually getting a sponsorship, but as practice, my dog loves nature Naws. We're gonna watch her jump up. Come on, can you come a come a little closer? We're gonna try aiming this so we can see you. That's a good dog. Okay. And now Kira goes off to her little lair with the treat, and she'll probably be back in like 5 minutes for another one. Um, Welcome. Today's theme is Gen X. We're entering our widower era. And before we get started, I need to go check all spots and make sure that this StreamYard is working. I see it's working over here in Substack. Hello, all. I will put that in there. And I'm just going to take a moment and go explore all of the places. Let's see here. Facebook, am I live? I keep linking my Facebook because it's easy. Literally, no one has ever joined it. Isn't that weird? Like, I have 1,600 friends on Facebook, and I don't think a single one of them has ever noticed that I'm live. So we'll just note that it's live, and then I'm gonna go check YouTube while I'm checking all of these things because I have no admin and I just like to make sure everything is working before we get going. Um, why don't you all weigh in and tell me where you're all located and say a quick hello, and then I will come back and respond to all of it. My channel live. It says I'm live over here as well. Is there anybody on YouTube? Hello. I'll just say hi in case there is anybody here. Um, doesn't really look like there is, but that is okay. Stacy, I know Lawrence is live right now as well. And I'm frankly a little frustrated by that because I was the one who asked if we could go live to talk about his new essay, and offered some times, and we declined because someone else we know is going to be live, but instead he's going live during my show. Airing of the grievances. Hopefully he's done pretty quickly because I feel like he may be, this is a very small audience so far. So I appreciate you being here today. This is going to go for a whole hour, so that should roll off. Stacy from California, good evening. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Vanessa. Hello, Chris from Angelino Heights near Dodger Stadium. Very cool. Chris, I think it was you were one of the people who commented on the tickets for Olivia Rodrigo's Fest, the Daisy Chain Field Fest. And I held for an hour in that queue on both of my devices. My phone, I joined right at the start. It took an hour and a half, and then I got a wait list notification. My desktop, after about half an hour, because I joined half an hour later, I got the like, you're welcome to join the wait list. So I'm on the wait list for the $260 a piece general admission tickets. So I don't think I'm probably going, but I know it's down near you. Jamie's in San Diego. We've got Southeast Pennsylvania. Ted, hello. You have me on laptop and Lawrence on your phone, Lynette. That is very cute. Vanessa, you're in Olympia. You're just south of me. I am thrilled to hear that. You know, it's very warm in the Pacific Northwest today. So look at this iced tea I made. I feel like it matches everything about me. So, Jamie, you got waitlisted too. Yeah, I don't know that site was equipped to handle all the traffic. I don't know. It would be a huge pain in the ass to get down there, but I had to at least try to get tickets so I could have it as an option. We'll see if we get off the wait list, right? It is hibiscus tea. It's hibiscus and orange. mixed. Like I steeped it and I stuck it in the fridge for today, and it's very yummy. Mm. So, who out there is ready to talk about grief and dating widowers? And how are we going to keep this a bit upbeat? We're going to do our best. So, the first thing I'm going to do is put this link in the chat because this is this week's essay. And I'm going to share an essay from a month and a half ago called All Gen X Dating is Grief that I've already talked about quite a bit. I'm looking at these as like paired essays, right? They are, gosh, in a way in my life, they're kind of a before and after, but they're similarly themed. And so we're going to talk about both during the course of this live, undoubtedly. And yeah, the first question I have for all of you, let me come back over here. You loved Gen X Dating is Grief. Thank you, Jamie. That's one of my favorite things I've ever written. Kira's back for another treat. Um, and these are hard. This essay, this week's essay in particular, is a hard one for me to talk about because it is about a relationship that I was in that just recently ended with a widower. With a widower who I know pays attention to what I'm writing and podcasting. And so I will say I'm going to be careful with what I say here. And if he joins either during this live or watches afterwards, hello. Um, it is not a burn the bridges. I'm so angry sort of breakup at all. It is simply a grief filled one. Oh, see, I'm going to just get emotional if I talk about that. So, yeah, it's been a strange week talking about all of this and also kind of a therapeutic one because at a meta level, one thing I'm realizing is that there's a line in this essay, this week's essay, that says, hold on, I can quote myself actually. Let me just quote myself. If, try to remember the words to search out so I can find it. Why am I not seeing it here? Huh, okay, I'm not finding the part I'm looking for. One moment, please. Oh, because there's a hyphen in Al-Anon. I'm trying to search on that term and it's not pulling up. It's because there's a hyphen. Let me read this part to you. This is from near the end of the essay. And I know this essay is behind a paywall, and I don't know that everyone here is a paid subscriber, so you may not have seen this part. It says, one more thing, and this part really stings. If it doesn't work out, you'll be largely on your own to grieve about it. There's no Al Anon equivalent for women who loved and lost widowers. No support ecosystem, no shorthand, no community of people who understand the specific texture of this particular loss. What you'll get instead from well meaning friends who watched you walk into this is some version of, well, what did you expect? They warned you it was too soon. They said he was letting you know his limitations. And technically, they weren't wrong, but technically isn't the same thing as understanding. And understanding is what you'll need and won't likely find. Unlike him, everyone understands his grief. Support groups are there ready to receive. You'll be left out like ephemera, your grief unseen. Just be prepared. I don't usually write when things are as fresh as this is. So bear with me if I get a little emotional. But I read that part to start this conversation because I'm realizing that I think part of the reason I wrote this essay and I'm hosting this live is I'm in a way creating that support system for myself because it has been lacking for the months we were together. And it was especially lacking when he pulled back and left. Um, and it's a really nuanced sort of sadness. And so I think my hope in writing this in a way was to explain what my sadness is, and to find the support that doesn't actually exist. It's a very strange place because um, I, I mean, I'm in this essay saying I have dated many widowers. I weirdly have. This is just four, but there have been others. Um, they seem to find me, or perhaps I'm just not scared off by big emotional events or hard emotional work. And so um, I have long been willing to try. But this was the first one where the grief was so acute, and I'm not a grief expert, and he's not a grief expert. He got thrust into this quite unwillingly, into this world of grief. And so he is ill prepared for what to expect. And I didn't and still don't know how to respond to it because in non widower circumstances, some of the things that he had said, I'd be like, okay, well, if you're not in this, you're not in this. It's so different when it's a grief response. And I followed my intuition to give a lot of grace and space and a lot of communication. It wasn't enough. And I don't know where to turn. So I'm turning here. And the Sunday salon, I will turn into it a bit more and give more detail, I think. But I wanted to set that context up. And I'm going to come back to the chat in a second and see if there are other people commenting, because I don't know if there's anyone here who is dealing with or has dealt with similar situations, either as the bereaved or as the lover of the bereaved. But I really welcome your viewpoints and insights here because I think I have acquired a bit of wisdom in my days and I'm at a bit of a loss on this one. So I'm going to come over here and oh, it looks like a lot more folks have joined. Oh my gosh, look at all of you guys. Okay, so I'm going to come back and I am going to read here. And oh, I bet a whole bunch of people joined because I think Lawrence's live just ended. Totally going to have a word with him. Oh, Lawrence, he's my family. We've been friends for 47 years. Mm. Oh my gosh. Amy, you crack me up. Amy's comment. Did someone say widower? Amy, you, like me, have a lot of expertise in this area. I always appreciate your wisdom. And just Amy is coming at this from the other side, you all. She is a widow, and she just published her first memoir called Widow in the City. There you go, Kira. And I have not read it yet, but I'm sure it's wonderful. She's a wonderful essayist, and the title is amazing. Okay, I'm going to read some comments and then we're going to come back to some of the questions I've prepared. I see, hello, Dana. Hi, Angel. Chris says, your comments about grief was a very different outlook and really made me thoughtful about my relationships. Thank you. Laura says, amazing piece, Dana. I've been where you are 15 years ago. You're 68 now. Wow. Okay. I imagine you still feel it. Let's see here. Oh, for an edit button. Yeah, we can't edit our comments here in the live, but it's okay. It's all casual, right? Oh, I will ask while we're here, and now that Lawrence has hung up on his live, if you could all, I see a lot of you are clicking hearts. If you guys could click the heart button, that helps more people discover this live. And because I have a day job, I do have to have my lives around my work and parenting schedule. So, okay, I think I'm back now. I hope. I hope. That was very weird. Um, can you guys hear me and see me now? La 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 la. Are we here? Am I back? Yeah, I'm back. You guys, that was so weird. I have my phone, which is what I use as my camera. I have it set to do not disturb, and my brother called, and I saw the call pop in, and my screen went dark. So I guess do not disturb unless it's your brother calling. I don't know why that just like I was still connected, just the screen went black. So I had to hang up and come back. I'm so sorry about that, you guys. I feel like we were really on a roll and then got interrupted, but I will get us right back on path. I was saying, I believe, to click the hearts to notify people so that they know this is an awesome place to be for the next 42 minutes. Oh, I was also saying that because I have a day job and kids, that I don't always get to podcast at the optimal time, like midday when more people are online. And I know that can impact my audience size. So the more of you, oh, if he is a fave, it will interrupt. Ricard, I did not know that. My brother is a favorite contact. So if one of your favorite contacts calls, it will interrupt a do not disturb. That's wild. I learned something about my iPhone today. Okay. I'm so sorry for the disturbance. Thank you for clicking the hearts. I'm going to come back up here and read. There were a few comments here. Yeah, I was playing hide and seek. I did not mean to, but yes, someone said he apologized and sent people to my live. Way to go, Lawrence. I'm glad he did that. And if you haven't read Lawrence's essay that he published just a few hours ago, it's spectacular. It's called Zionist. And it was so good that I was like, Lawrence, I have to be to work by 7:30 tomorrow, but I will wake up and do a podcast with you at 6 because you have to go live and talk about this quickly. And we both agreed not to do that. But and then Ellie Leonard will be on at 6 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And he really didn't want to interrupt that show. So he interrupted mine, but just a little. So it's okay. Let me scroll here. I did because there were so many comments. I want to make sure that I address these before we dive in. And where did I leave off before I blacked out? Not literally, just you know, StreamYard kicked me off. I think we were here. Um, you had your best friend help you through, Laura. I am glad to hear that. Chris, thank you for saying that you're here. You guys have really been here for me, and you want to play ball, huh? Not right now, sweetie. Um, it has been a rough-ish, it has been a rough few weeks. It's not rough is the wrong word. It's been emotional. It's been really emotional. Hi, Ayana. Ayana Madrone is here, and I'm gonna go do a sneak peek that she's gonna be a guest on the Daily Whatever Show Fucked Up Friday really soon. Stay tuned for that. It's lovely to see you, Ayana. Hi, Bud. Um, let's see. Crying is healing. It is. I mean, I've no problem with crying. Thank you for calling me stunning, Ayana. I feel very sweaty, so it's nice of you to say. It's so warm out here. Support can be telepathic, my lovely friend. Thank you, Jim. I can feel the support coming in. You're being honest, hearing us is amazing. Thank you, Jim. What else are we all doing here if we're not hearing each other? Lawrence just apologized for overlapping with you and is sending everyone over here. Wonderful. Ayana, it's your daughter's bedtime. Go, go, go. And Dana, I know you have heard that it is better to have loved and lost than never to have lived at all. What do you think about that? It's always my default mode. I know that is at this point a trite saying, we've all heard that before, but there's a lot of truth in it. That's why expressions become expressions. Um, would I, does part of me think, wow, Dana, you twice said no and you allowed yourself to be convinced that the no was a yes because there was so much good there, even through the grief. I don't know. I, yeah, I, I wouldn't have done anything differently probably because this one here is a fool. So I've only pulled that card once. I've been pulling tarot cards lately, and I keep getting the same cards. Slight aside to those of you who might be into tarot, I keep getting the moon and the star and the hermit, which is really interesting. It's an interesting combination. Anyhow, about all of this. Bathrobe Guy says his essay made me sob. It was freaking amazing. Yes, Lawrence's essay is really quite amazing. Okay, there's a ton of comments here. Here I go, being gone. Laura, you say I will always love him most, even more than my ex-husband. I'm sorry. That is rough. Okay. Oh my gosh, you're singing a song, Lynette. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Wouldn't have missed loving you, girl. I love that song. Is that Ronnie Millsap? I wouldn't have missed it for the world off key. But yeah, that's a good song. And Ricard, I'm sorry about your mom. 101 though. Wow. My hat is off to you, Ricard. That is a special kind of grief. And it's a point I make across both of these essays. And wow, so many more people have joined. Let me go ahead and put the essays that we're talking about in the live again. So the one I just put in, Gen X Women, We've Entered Our Widower Era. That's the new one from this week. And we're going to be talking a bit about an older essay because it's kind of the partner essay to this one called All Gen X Dating is Grief. And I'm going to put that link in as well. I would love if you would read, comment, restack. It truly is the kindest thing you can do to a creator. If you appreciate our work as a writer, there's just no better compliment than someone restacking it and saying this resonated with me. It also helps us grow on Substack. So thank you in advance if you do those things. Okay, so let me open my notes here so I have my talking points handy. I know there are men and women in the chat, so this essay is specifically about widowers, which are men. But the idea that we are all facing grief, right? So my challenging opening statement here for you all for this conversation is, I would say there is no such thing as an unencumbered man over 45. The same is probably true for women. What do you think when you hear that? There is no such thing, let's just say, as an unencumbered person over 45. We are all facing grief in some form. I'm going to pause on that and come over here to read because I really want to hear your thoughts. And hi, Darvid, I see you joining. Ricardo, you have just told us your grief. You were a caregiver for your mother the last 5 years, and she has just recently passed. I'm sorry for your loss. That is an intense one. I will offer mine. I mean, there are many griefs, but my grief specifically around dating, as I talk about in the All Gen X Dating is Grief story, is around not having a partner. I haven't had a real partner now in about 14 years, since my marriage ended. And I've had boyfriends of various lengths, but that's not the same thing as a partner. And I am still someone who really hopes to find a partner, not just a boyfriend, but a partner. And it has been an immense amount of time and effort and heartache on that journey for 14 years. Is 14 correct? Yeah. It was like early 2012. So, yeah, um, that's a long time. And that is, it's not just one grief, it is countless griefs, countless disappointments, heartaches. And at this point, like almost chronic PTSD response to dating, that makes me hyper vigilant because I have been wrong so many times that I am looking for dots to connect and um, situations to avoid to try to not be hurt again, to try to do it right. And I fail every time. And that is, for someone like me, a very hard grief, but it's a grief that I don't, that's not, I mean, it's when it's fresh, of course, everyone's like, oh, you're heartbroken, that's sad. But this is more of the like chronic underlying grief that is never really addressed. And most of the men, an awful lot of the men I'm dating have very acute griefs, not always widowhood, but acute griefs. And my chronic grief not only takes a back seat to that, but it gets triggered by it. And I have to keep facing it and showing courage in spite of it again and again. And so to have it fail again and again and to re-injure that same grief is, well, it makes me write a lot. I said I'd keep this upbeat. So I want to hear, now that I've shared mine, what your griefs are, if you're comfortable sharing. Yes, I think that we have history as we get older, which is wonderful, but it can become a baggage too. I said so the interesting thing about these two essays, All GenX Dating is Grief and We're Entering Our Widower Era, is with the first one, All GenX Dating is Grief, I was dating Basil and I gave him right of first refusal of the essay. He read it and kind of approved it. I told him that I would do that, that as long as he was in my life, that if I wrote an essay that involved him, that I would do that. Um, I had started the Gen X women were entering our widower era essay when we were still together, and it was a very different vibe, right? I finished it after he stepped away, and so it's a sadder essay, a little bit of a darker essay. In a way, it's a less satisfying essay because it was supposed to be sort of a knowledge share. And instead, it's once again acknowledging that it, there is really no top level knowledge. So maybe it's a more honest essay. Um, but they are two, and he didn't review this beforehand. We are on a pause right now. So I did not share it with him because we're not speaking right now, not in an angry way. We're just paused. And um, it's my story. So I am still telling it, but also it feels very strange to, it was just another form of like, yep, um, that's the way this goes now. And it's not the way I wanted it to go. So I am going to pause and look at your comments and hopefully, okay, it looks like my dog has settled down. Sorry about her barking. But the word baggage was what started that. When he read the first essay, All Gen X Dating is Grief, he said, oh, isn't this kind of like baggage? And I said, baggage is what happens to grief when it's unmanaged. Like baggage has a really negative connotation where grief, it just is, it simply is. So they're a little different to me. That's how I think of them in terms of usage. Um, Let me see here. Restack very often. Yes, thank you, Laura. Especially me, Ellie, Lawrence, and Waj. I'm in good company there, Laura. Thank you. Let's see, baggage or lessons and growth. Darvid, it's all of them, right? If you have the lessons and you do the growth, then hopefully you don't get left with the baggage. That's how I think of it in my head. Betsy says, I had such an awful relationship experience between 2010 and 2012. I haven't barely been able to think about giving anyone a chance since then. Wow, that's a long time. Betsy, I'm sorry. That must have been really awful. So I'm sorry that happened. Chris says, if a man does not have any grief or baggage at 45, I would be concerned that he would have to be emotionally stunted, which in and of itself is its own red flag. People carry their experiences with them. Yeah, and Chris, I would say there maybe that person's grief is that they are not leading the life maybe they thought they would be leading. Maybe they don't want it, they're very superficial surface people and it's exactly as they wanted. But I think by 45, solidly midlife, if not past midpoint, to have never had a serious relationship, to have never had kids, to have never lost anyone who you loved, like, yeah, that is a pretty hollow existence. So I know people by that age who have a grief that they never had the love they wanted. That is another kind of grief. So, yeah, there are many. I wonder if I don't, this is Lynette, I wonder if I don't think of baggage as scars of just life. They are beautiful because of lived experience, but we have to make sure it doesn't make us not want to risk being vulnerable too. Well said. Amy, this is going to be good. The older I get, the more I understand that we are all carrying a level of grief and trauma. Yes, that is the human condition. I don't say this to minimize anyone's experience, quite the opposite. Our grief makes us human. Some have more coping mechanisms. Yes. I was marveling today. I nearly wrote a note about it and I decided not to, but I have some dating profiles up and boy, am I ready for another red flag roundup because I'm already collecting so many like very like oof, people to share on a red flag roundup. But there have been a few men who I'm conversing with who I'm like, I would meet this person and I'm already like, oh, what are their griefs? One of them is a full-time carer for a disabled child who's an adult. Another's children are in another state far away, and he only gets to see them like once a month in the summer. And another, I shit you not, is a widower. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't, I don't think I can do that. So um, I don't know if I attract the people in grief. I think perhaps the people who are in grief come forward in a different, more serious way. I don't know, but those were the ones who I'm writing with who I'm like, maybe I would meet them. I've already like done the grief inventory and I'm like, oh boy, oh boy. Oh. Vulnerable can be very brave or very foolish. Very wise, Lynette. That is true. Uh, my unapologetic playlist, great name. Yes, yes, yes. In fact, I think baggage equals unprocessed grief. Exactly. Baggage is unprocessed grief. Processed grief is less likely to result in baggage. Right. Exactly. There's also something called anticipatory grief. You know it's coming. See the 3 eligible bachelors on the dating apps. I'm like, I, I'm such a fool with my heart that I don't stop things because of hard circumstances. There's a man I've written about at length under the name Mason, who I met a little over a year ago and we dated last summer, ended things at the end of September. And he had an extraordinary grief circumstance as well. He was kind of like a pre-widower. His ex-partner was dying. She had terminal cancer. And I terminal, but like had it for a couple of years because people live now with metastatic cancer for quite a while sometimes. And in spite of their very fractured sounding relationship. I never met her. Um, he was her primary caregiver too because of their kids, sort of by default, and was very emotionally spent. Only in hindsight can I really see just how unavailable he was. And he told me about this on our second date. And I told my friend Sunny about it, my very wise friend who gets a lot of shout outs for saying wise things in my stories. And Sunny was like, Dana, I was like, this is, like, look at how emotionally intelligent he is. He's telling me all these things. And she was like, or maybe he's just telling you he's not going to be available. And she was right. Damn it. I hate saying that, but she was. Yeah, men typically have fewer grief coping skills for sure. And yeah, Darvid, divorced people grieve their losses. Um, that was another recent one for me, was someone exiting a 25-year marriage, and I very like was still living in the house when he first met me through a dating app, which should have been my first clue that this was not a person who was ready. Um, that was a total grief response that I got from him too, and a very intense, 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 and then a poof, I'm gone. Which now I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happens. Oh wait, I see an advice, Dana. Hang on, Laura. I missed the comment. I adore my best guy friend, Billy. I helped him through the loss of his wife's dying. I adored her too 7 years ago. Billy and I have known one another. No sex. I don't know what BBM stands for. Ironically, he now lives next door. He wants to be with me, but I'm very afraid. Oh my gosh, Laura, if you have feelings for this guy, go. It's been 7 years and he wants to be with you and you have a friendship and you already know and love the one he's lost. Oh my gosh, you have my, not just my blessings, but my enthusiastic go for it. Yeah, if you like him. I mean, don't talk yourself into dating him, but if you like him, if you have feelings for him, go for it. Jump in if you think I'm wrong, chat, but that's my advice. I have become suspicious of repetitions in my life. It feels like the cosmos is nudging me to finally confront whatever the repetition symbolizes. Yes, I agree. The moon, the star, the hermit. Yes. Let me see here. Not because men are bad, it's just that coping skills are not valued in men the way they are in women. Yeah, the interesting thing about my widower is, I don't know if he's mine, but the widower in question, he has really good coping skills, like really good. He's really emotionally mature, and just emotionally intelligent, I guess, and very communicative. And that was why I finally said, okay, and gave him a chance. So the idea that after, depending on where you're clocking it from, 4 to 7 months in, the thing I kept trying to run from of you're in too acute a state of grief, I can't date you. He finally convinced me otherwise, and things were really good for months. And then it was like, I'm in too acute a state of grief. I have feelings about that. Those are not great. And also, there's some things we can't know about ourselves until we're up against them. I don't think he had any bad intent. I just think he didn't really understand his capacity. So, um, okay, I'm going to come back to my questions here because I have more I want to get through, and we're already 40 minutes into our chat. So, the widower is an archetype. This essay gets into why he is both the best and the most complicated option in the midlife dating pool, and it's the paradox. There's so few men. There's so few good men out there by this age group who want and understand the value of a committed monogamous relationship, who really want a partner. The widower is there, and assuming that they were in a good marriage, they get it intrinsically. They know the value of being in a happy partnership. They have the receipts. They, till death did they part, right? They showed up and they did it. The problem is that the complexity of coming in after death and that sort of loss is that they did that with someone else, right? And it's not necessarily a fully transferable skill when grief is involved. Um, the essay moves around this idea a lot. And I don't know if I have any questions for you about that, but um, the essay gets into this idea of, oh, some people say it's easier. You may think like easier to date, say, a widower than someone getting out of a bad marriage. There's no ex, you know, calling or texting with these hard messages. There's no, active relationship to manage in co-parenting or just in life. And I'd give that a big yes and because there is still a third person there. And she is not alive, but she is real. And she will always be there. And she is idealized, might be too strong of a word, but you know, the ghost is frozen in time. And typically it's the good that remains, which is as it should be. That's good. But it's very hard when you are the living, flawed human next to this frozen in time sort of ideal state person. So it is neither better nor worse. It just is, like so many things simply are. I'm going to come back here and see if there's any feedback. 3 people vote Laura Tompkins that you date the boy slash man next door. Yes. Yes. And Betsy, oh, this is so true. Grief is not a straightforward path. You're correct. And I think I needed to hear that because I am, this is a very strange thing as a storyteller to be aware that the person I'm telling the story about might be listening to this. So I'm just going to not answer that. But I will say, other than to say, I think that's what happened to us, that grief took a detour that he was not expecting. And he found that he could not continue on the path, if we're going to continue this metaphor, both carrying our relationship and his grief. He couldn't, he needs to face the grief first, and I can't be there. And it's a really hard spot because he is not wrong and I am not wrong. And so there's no one to blame, but there's a lot of, I know he's sad too. There's just a lot of sadness. Like, sorry, I'm going to get sad again. We enjoy each other so much. It has simply been hard to not. Um, it's been hard to not be able to just text or call and say hi, which, you know, we could have gone that route. He wanted to, but every part of my gut is just like, no, that won't be good for me because it will mix signals for me. And it won't be good for him because I think I became what I didn't really want to be, which was like the grief band-aid, the tool in the grief toolkit is what I kept calling myself, of like, I think I was keeping him from healing because there was so much joy there. And also, you can tell I'm hesitating a little bit. And yeah, I think that the joy that he felt with me left him really conflicted. I I don't have any expertise on grief, like in a therapy sense, or, I'm not a psychologist, but I spontaneously used the words once that I was his shameful joy. And I don't mean that he was ashamed of me. He wasn't. He was ashamed that he was feeling joy during his time of grieving. And I think that, I mean, I can't say what his lived experience was, but that was my impression of what I was. And that it wasn't just a joy, it was a shameful joy. I don't want to be anybody's shameful joy. So um, I do think he and many widowers have a great capacity for joy, but you need to be kind of mindful of that. I didn't mean to make this a therapy session, you guys, although I guess maybe I did, since I led this by saying there's no place for people in my circumstance to go. So it's very good having you all here as my like ad hoc support group. And I'm going to take another sip of my delicious iced tea and lighten the mood a bit because I said I would keep it kind of joyful. I really like this tea because I think it matches my whole vibe here. Oh, some grief can't be processed. Johnny, that's interesting. I don't know if that's true, but maybe some grief never fully goes away. I'd like to think it can all be at least somewhat processed, but I might be wrong. And Angel says, I wish, Dana, that you wouldn't take on their grief. Means nothing is wrong with you. It's almost like trying to fix someone, yet we can't. He wasn't ready for you. He was not ready to meet someone like me. I think he wanted to be. I think he still kind of wants to be in, but he now knows he is not right now with this unknown ahead because grief is a mystery. Um, all good mamas want to take care of their kids long after they're gone. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but true. um, uh, Laura says his three kids love me, but cobwebs up there, girl. If that means what I think it means. Oh, Laura, we can talk offline. There's things you can do. It's okay. Call me. I mean, message me. Um, Darbid, fact, men want a relationship later in life because they fear loneliness, whereas women seek out social support, generalizing, but there's truth in this. That may be. That may be. Yes, as a widow, I get that feeling of shameful joy. Okay. Thank you for confirming that that is a lived experience that is relatable. Um, I love this, dear Dana. Yes. Oh, Johnny, you lost your daughter. Okay. It doesn't get better. I am so sorry. And yeah, I can't even contemplate that kind of grief. I don't know if you read Jacqueline Dooley's work. She lost her daughter to cancer 7 years ago now, I think, when she was 15. The daughter was 15. And she writes so beautifully about parental loss and grief. And if you don't read her, you probably should because her writing is amazing. It may give you some comfort. I'm so sorry, Johnny. That is like my, it's like my greatest fear. And you're right, probably the thing that I could not come back from. I'm so sorry. I'm going to change the subject. Sorry. I know that that is heavy. Um, uh, Always choose your beverage to match your coloring. Yes. Oh, Darvid, I'm sorry. You are also, oh, there's some hard grief conversations. I don't want to read that one aloud. I probably shouldn't have read Johnny's out loud, but my heart is with you guys. Really. Whew. Okay. Paula says he was lucky to have parts of you that we have come to know and adore. Thank you. That's going to make me cry. You hit me right in the grief with that, but in a good way. Thank you, Paula. That's a very sweet thing of you to say. I appreciate it. Um, okay. Oh, your daughter was 15 as well, Johnny. Then you should definitely read Jackie's work. Jacqueline Dooley is Dooley. She's on Substack and Medium. Yeah, wonderful and terrible things happen. They do. They do. Um, Thank you, Darvid. Yes, there is a silver lining. We are enjoying the present. I very much am enjoying the present with all of you. And I'm going to come back here and look at my notes. I do want to talk a bit before this is over about the asymmetry. Statistically speaking, widowers repartner quickly and widows do not. And I got a statistic as I was writing this story that I'll bring up. 61% of widowers end up remarried within around 2 years. Only 19% of widows do. What does that tell us about how the dating market is gendered? I have thoughts on this, but I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Oops, that's the wrong window. Let me come over here. Oh, Darvin, you almost have Jacqueline's name right. Dooley, here it's D-O-O, it's Jacqueline Dooley, Dooley. Actually, while you guys are answering, I'll go find her. Jacqueline is one of those names I always have a hard time spelling. So here, her Substack is called The Halfway Path. And here is the link to her work. She's also just a very cool person, but her writing is spectacular. We do have a rather special community here, Betsy. I agree, and it does help. Johnny says, I think your story with this guy is beautiful in a way. It feels like there is genuine kindness in both of you. I agree on both counts. I do think there is beauty in this story. It's not the story I was hoping for. And it may not be the final story. Time will tell. This is the hardest part of this, and this is more of what I'll talk about on Sunday, I think, is one of the hardest emotional things for me to do is to hold ambiguity. It is very uncomfortable for me to leave a door open and not walk through it. I don't know that I've ever really done it like this before. Generally, it's like I know when I'm done and I have to close the door and start the healing process. Doesn't mean I hate the person, although sometimes maybe somewhat, but I just have to let it go. I have to put it down. And this is a rare case for me of holding space, to use therapy talk. I think I now understand that expression a bit more. I am holding space for him. I don't know what that means. And he doesn't either. And right now, the only way I know how to hold space is to take some space. But we will talk. We have a time and date when we have a date when we'll talk again. But I think it's at least a long-ish road for him. And so I think we're both just trying to be very kind to each other, which does feel sweet. Let me see here. It's also because women have more friends and seek out social circles easier than men. True. And also, this particular man has a lot of friends, which is one thing I liked about him, that I'm like, oh, a man with friends. Those are hard to find. Your husband needs to remarry, Lynette? I don't know what you mean by that. Let's see. Amy says widows don't want to take on another relationship to manage, while widowers want someone to manage their emotions. I think that's a very interesting explanation. That makes a lot of sense. I read it less kindly in my story of women are willing to take on the emotional weight of a man in grief. And I don't know that men would show women that same grace. So perhaps both of those things are true. Sometimes there are opportunities for beauty that present only in suffering. I like that, Johnny. Laura, please go hook up with Billy next door. We do it for the plot, although he is next door. So if things don't work out, that could be very awkward. But keep us all posted. I'm now invested in your Billy story, and I want to know how it goes. Betsy says, I have several widowed friends in their 80s and 90s now. They seem to be fulfilled by their love. And sometimes I think they feel relieved to not have to keep taking care of the husbands they loved, but now don't see. I can imagine that that is true. Women take on a family's social, emotional, and physical labor. Why would I want to take that on again? I hear that, Amy. And yeah, I think I'm looking for a unicorn sort of man because I imagine that it would be easier to have a partner. I have been running this beautiful home around me for 14 years by myself. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I don't know. I have a couple more years here because my daughter's going into her junior year, and I'm very aware of like I then will have a different phase of life, possibly a lot more freedoms. We shall see. But to me, it's I have been like I am looking for that partner who will be with me for this sort of last and best phase of adulthood. Let's put that out there. And I'm also looking to set up my life so that I can spend it doing the things I love and want to be doing, like writing and podcasting and other fun things out there in the wild, and less time burdened by obligations and things I don't want to be doing. And I am trying to figure out how to get there. In my mind, it will be easier to do if there is a partner. I might be wrong. It might be harder to do with a partner, but it would be awfully nice. My thing is, I'm like, once my kids are out of the house, I'm like, I want to write stories and podcast and travel and have lots of sex and sing songs and just have more fun. Take some really nice walks in nature, love on my pets, go visit my kids wherever they are. Like, I just want grow dahlias. I've never done that. I always wanted to have a spice like herb garden and grow dahlias. And that's how I would like my late adulthood, my late middle life. I guess I'm already in late middle life. I'm 55. I don't think I'm going to be 110, but whatever comes next, that's what I've put out there. So I have a couple of years um, until that, until I'm on that precipice. So we shall see. Yeah, Amy, you're being financially independent, making your own decisions. You don't want to have to check in with a partner. I- there is a part of me that's like, do I have this very fanciful idea of having a partner because it's been so long? Because this has been me for 14 years. I mean, financially independent, like I'm not rich, but like I keep my life going. Um, so it is really nice not to have to check in. My dining room, as you may notice, is pink. I did not have to ask anyone, are you okay if I paint the dining room pink? I just bought a green velvet sofa. It was the color I wanted. My bathroom is purple, and the shower curtain has a unicorn on it, a giant unicorn, because that's how I wanted the shower curtain to look. There is something very nice about not having to ask and be like, what's your opinion on this? Is this a bit too much color? Because I like a lot of color in my house. Um, do it for the plot. I now have so much more liberty in my dating life. Fuck yeah, I did not make up do it for the plot. That's a maybe I should write a little essay about do it for the plot because that is something the kids say. And it's a good thing that they say. Amy, you're going to be 59 next month, so it may not be the same for younger widows. I am raising my son alone. He's 14 now, so he's my priority. I get that. I totally get that. A gay man is always a good, fun partner. Just forget about the physical toys. Just get some toys and a lavender marriage. Is that what I'm hearing? I'll call that Plan B. I will call that Plan B. Um, I would like to not have to carry everything alone. I agree. Oh, I hate to say it. I think you're wrong. I think unpartnered is easier, yet I still want another life partner. Yeah, it's easy isn't always the goal. It's satisfying. But, any man who's around needs to, like, life needs to feel better with him in it. And that is a really interesting bar. To just be like, is my life better for this? Checking in, weighing how it feels. So, um, women are socialized to believe having a partner means happily ever after, but the conclusion I come to in my book is that I am my own happily ever after. I kind of wish I were there. It'd be like part of me yeah, I kind of wish I could be there and just be like, this is it. I have a really great life. But yeah, I don't know. I think I still want a partner. Knowing me, I'll find one and then I'll be like, oh my God, I hate this. I'm gonna write a whole bunch of essays about what a drag this is. Kidding. I hope that's not what happens. Plan B feels like fraught nomenclature. I love that you said fraught nomenclature, and you are correct. You are correct. I think it's totally wonderful to want a partner. At the same time, we can be okay on our own. I've been okay on my own for a very long time, and it's okay to be okay on your own, and also be like, and I would like to find a partner. We shall see. If nothing else, I'm doing it for the plot. It makes for really good essay writing. Am I right? Am I right? I think I am. Ooh, and there are 88 people in the chat. That's my favorite number, 88. You'll find one when you are unsuspecting, Dana. I love you, Darvid, but that is one of my least favorite expressions in the world. And I actually just so I've been writing on Medium again. This is a very small aside. I've been writing like micro essays, really short, easy things for like clickbaity stuff. I'm learning to write for another audience. But the first essay I published was like things that I can't remember. It was like 7 things that don't work in dating over 50. And one of them is that expression of like, nothing happens if I'm not trying to. Trust me, I've done that. Nothing happens because you don't meet any. I do not meet anyone out in the wild. And the very few times, I can only think of one time it happened, and it was my worst dating experience. You can read about it in my essay. I gave my consent, he gave me bruises. It was not a good experience. So I am not really a believer that date meeting in the wild would be better. But also at my age, there are not men in the wild really. I would love if a friend were like, Dana, I know just the guy for you. I want to set you up with a friend of mine. It has never in my life happened. Never. There are always too many women, not enough men would have friends who are like, oh yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's already dating somebody. He doesn't need any help. So it is simply work if I want to date. When I'm single, I miss being in a relationship. When I'm in a relationship, I miss being single. Oh, that's rough. That is rough. That should be a bumper sticker. Do it for the plot. Maybe a t-shirt. Do it for the plot. Um, I learned that a partner can be ripped away, so I had to learn to be okay without a man. Yeah, Amy, you have a really hard path there. And I am sorry. It's always hard when I'm apologizing, and so like, I hope it sounds sincere. Look at Laura and her neighbor guy. Laura, please report back. We're going to need a Billy update every live. That is just the way that it's going to be. And also, it is 6 o'clock, a little after 6 o'clock here, 9 o'clock on the East Coast, which means we are at the end of another delightful I Write Out Loud live. This has been so much fun. Oh, Suzanne J., you've been married for 50 years to the same man, and you still think it's worth it. We're going to end there. That's so inspiring. That makes me really, really happy. All the hearts coming out. I am so grateful for all of your support, for all of your wise words and your company over the past hour and the past few weeks as I've been just processing all of this. It has really helped. I think you are all wonderful. What updates do I have to tell you about before I log off? I will do if you are not a paid subscriber, I would welcome you as a paid subscriber, and then you can join the Sunday Salon on Sunday. Even if you are not a paid subscriber, I am so grateful that you are here. If you enjoyed these essays, please restack them, comment on them, like them. It helps drive the algorithm, and it helps more people find them and to find me. And I would be so grateful for that. I will be back live on Friday morning for the Daily Whatever Show's Fucked Up Friday. We have Zev Shalev coming in. We have so many good guests lining up this summer. I'm going to share a partial lineup soon because I've got a bunch to figure out which Fridays they're slotting in, but um, that will be on Friday. It will be amazing. And on Sunday, it will be the Sunday Salon. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. We will be talking about this essay more, diving in at kind of a deeper behind the scenes level, since that is a paid subscriber chat and it's a bit more intimate of a gathering. Oh, Amy, thank you. I appreciate you too. Chris, thank you for joining this space. I love it. Yes, everyone should follow Suzanne for marriage hacks. I agree. Lean into the moon and the stars and the hermit. I don't have a choice. They're pursuing me. I'm also getting the Empress. I'm getting some cards repeating that are interesting. And I'm a skeptic about these things, though I'm fascinated by them because right before everything ended with Brent, the um I did pull the tower. And so I knew it was coming. For whatever that's worth, the tower always means the tower. Okay. Love you all. Mean it. Bye. Good night. Oh, wait, I have to end over here. End stream. Bye.